So yeah, there was one more thing I've forgotten to mention about my baby sister, and this is more so of a reason why I kind of pity her too. Um, I, to just be blunt and honest about it, she has absolutely no leadership skills. Um, and what I mean by that is sometimes like leadership over oneself. Doesn't mean you have to like be a leader towards others. I know not everybody is meant to be a leader. Um, you know, it's not a bad thing for someone not to be a leader and such, but what I mean by but it is okay, it's not a good thing though to not have leadership skills over yourself. Uh, and I can say that out of personal experience. You know, as I said before, I did not have my own formed opinion. It has only been in recent years where I saw that maybe other political parties were okay. Beforehand, my family was very, very stern that it had to be Republican. I had to be Republican, and whoever I voted for in office had to be Republican. That anybody else was just not going to be good enough or was trying to take over and take away our rights and everything. Um, I probably just made some people laugh. But yeah, that was the reality of my life and my childhood growing up. Um, but after having a counselor and everything, I learned to form my own thoughts and opinions. And I guess you could say then I learned leadership over myself. I would say I guess you could say I have pretty good leadership skills when it comes to certain people. I think sometimes that's the thing about being a leader. Sometimes you're good with a certain group of people, and sometimes you're not. It doesn't mean you're a bad leader or have terrible leadership skills. It just means you're not going to fit in this area. So, I would say that I've always had a bit of leadership skills. Um, but, it's always around certain people that I have good leadership skills. And I guess you could say those leadership skills work best around team players. Um, in other words, not people like my sister who they're spoiled and they think it has to be their way. Even though she has terrible self leadership skills, you know, she also has terrible leadership skills. She also does not like it if certain people are leading or helping her. She very much so. I don't really want to get into that too much. I can't really explain it any other way other than she's snippy and a spoiled brat, and I'm pretty sure anybody around her at that moment, not just me, is like, what is your problem? I am only not saying something right now to be polite, but inwardly I am thinking a bunch of not so nice things about you. It's not just me, it's other people, and I know it's other people too. Like, even growing up, even when we were still going to church, there was a lot of times. A lot of the other teenagers had thought she was very snippy. They thought she was, there's no else other way to put it than she was snippy. Um, they didn't like her too much, and there was actually some kids that were friends with my brother that liked to tease her by referring to my brother by a particular name that was not his because he kind of looked like this person, so it made them think of him. Um, so it was kind of a nickname. And my sister would get my baby sister would get so pissed off. And, being she was so snippy and this annoyed her, they thought this was hilarious and, of course, had to call my brother by this name all the time. uh, you know, so yeah, that there is evidence that it wasn't just me that could find her snippy, or our sister that could find her snippy. It was other people too. They found her very snippy. So it's the same way now that we're adults. She can get very snippy, and particularly when we're in a group setting and someone has to lead her. Um, there's only, in particularly, some people she will let tell her what to do. And I don't think that's because she's a good team player. I think it's because she has a lack of self leadership skills. And that being said, she also has a lack of team player skills. Um, as I said, for an example, I did not think for myself, and when I formed my own opinion, prior, I did have some leadership skills, though. There were times I had to take charge. There were times I had to be a leader in certain areas. Um, but I wasn't bossy. I wasn't mean. It was more like me being part of the team. You sort of empathically just connect everybody and work with them. You don't make them work for you. You work with them and they work with you. It's nobody working for the other. It's working with each other and each other's strengths. So I've had a bit of leadership skills. I always have, but I did not have self leadership skills. I did not have my own self leadership to say, hang on, maybe I want to vote for this person into office. Um, because, my parents were in control of that. It was very strict upbringing, I guess you could say. And it had to be exactly how they wanted it to the T. And if you slipped out just one little bit or had one tiny opinion that was different, then that was all the focus was. There was no, oh, you agree with 99%. I'm going to focus on this 1% though, because that's wrong. It had to be 100%, or that's all they would focus on was that 1 or 2 or 3% that you disagreed on until they could correct you. But through counseling, I did find a way to have self leadership skills. I had enough leadership over myself to form my own opinion. And, when I say leadership over myself, I also mean, like, that means when other people go and tell me their political opinions or just different opinions, period. As I said, with the leadership skills, you do not make the other person agree with you or work for you. You work with each other. So when I hear someone has a different political view, I don't have the assumption with my leadership skills as to think, oh, well, I need to convince you I'm right. No, I work with you, and I believe that your political view brings good things into this country. That your political views are doing good things, as are mine. So I believe that each is a positive. There's pros and cons, but I'm not going to focus on the cons. I'm just going to focus on the tools that you use to make this country better, rather than focus on you have a different political view. Your political view does good things, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So I work with you. I have leadership skills over myself to, believe that each is working with each other rather than against each other. Um, I think the only thing that works against us each is our own pride and egos. When we have our pride and egos of my political view is right, yours is wrong, well, then now we're letting that stand in our way from uniting and making this country better. But I think if we looked at each other in a way that says, okay, your political view is doing something good, your opinions are doing something good, equally as is mine. Your political views also has some flaws. Your opinions has some flaws, as does mine too, I'm sure. But I'm not going to focus on that and let that separate us. I'm going to keep the leadership skills inside myself to have upon myself too, and realize that even if we have a different opinion, it doesn't mean that we can't unite and still stand together and work together to make this country better, and make this world better. So that's why I say had to learn leadership skills over myself. I had to be a leader over myself. Um, rather than someone else be my leader all the time, constantly thinking for me, telling me what I should think, how I should feel, what I should do about everything. I learned to have leadership skills over myself, over my own thoughts, over my own feelings. What are my beliefs? How do I feel? It's clearly pissed my mom off because I had to have 100% of my thinking. Remember that. Um, and now she no longer did. So that did piss her off. My sister has that same control over her. If my mom feels something, she has to agree with it. If my mom thinks something, she has to agree with it. If my mom says you should bake cookies for your group down at the stockyards, she'll do that. Um, so none of my sister's thoughts are her own, and this is also why I feel sorry for her. Uh, I think it just adds to, you know, to her, the difficulties she's going to have and the challenges she's going to have when one day she'll have to master this world, because no one will be there telling her what to do or what to think or how to feel. Um, she will literally be on her own in that area. She won't be on her own as that I or somebody else would abandon her. I'm sure she has lots of friends that will help her. I would be willing to help her. So I have no doubt someone will be there for her, for shelter and food wise and help her get on her feet. Um, as for her finding her own thoughts and opinions and nobody there to boss her around anymore, I don't know how she's going to handle that. Maybe not having someone tell her what to do, she may just gradually start thinking on her own and may never even notice she was bossed around and told what to do and how to think and how to feel. Uh, she may always have the view of mom that she's had and forever will. And I guess that's okay, because then at least she still doesn't have any mental damage. Her mind will be balanced and she'll be thinking for herself and have her own self leadership skills at that moment. But as I don't really know if that's going to happen or not. It may be difficult for her to learn to think on her own. I know it was for me. I mean, to be honest, the only reason I, started thinking for myself would be a long story, and I'll mention it in another video. It'll take too long to go into that. Just keep it in short. My mom started getting angry with me and harassing me literally out of nowhere and for nothing. I fell back on my usual typical habits of what I would do to try to help my mom feel better, making her my responsibility. Um, and when there was nothing I could do to help, uh, you know, and the realization had set in that she had just done made up her mind that she was just going to piss off with me and put the responsibility on me to take out take on all her lashing out because she's angry with my other sister and my brother for leaving. I don't think she's too angry with my brother. I think she's just angry he left because that was her favorite baby. Um, so, eventually my brain had to click and then snap into place and realize it's not my fault. I've done everything. This is not my responsibility. So it took a lot of mental stress and it just, cracked me down to the point that I had to realize it was my fault. And it was in that moment where I started, you know, thinking for myself. That was the first moment. And, why I say it was hard was because I at first was trying to do my old habits of what I, in a sense, was raised to do. But eventually it led down to I eventually realized this isn't my responsibility, nor is it my fault. Uh, and once that dawned on me, that from there on is where I started getting more, I guess you could say, leadership skills, power over myself. Um, My sister does not have anybody screaming or yelling at her, though. Um, she is just keeps being told how what a precious baby she is and a hard worker she is, and so she's believing what she's told. I mean, as somebody who's spoiled, if they're told that they work hard, they believe it. Um, they do not have any evidence in their mind to know that they are not working hard because no one is pointing out to them what they need to do. All they're being pointed out to is every little tiny thing they've done. And I mean tiny little thing. If they're being told that you do so much hard work because all they did was sweep the floor and that's it, they'll believe it. They're going to believe they're a hard worker and they can take on the world, and they ain't going to be too happy when they actually do take on the world. Uh, so, this is the reason why I say it affects my sister in a big way by not having self leadership skills, to have leadership over self. Because somebody else is her leader, someone is her ruler of her own thoughts. She doesn't even have her own thoughts. To the point when, and but she's also spoiled. So she gets what she wants by not thinking. There's no other way to put that, or that I can think of right now. That she gets what she wants by letting someone else think for her. So when it comes to someone having a leadership over her at a moment in time, she will get snippy and bossy right back because she's spoiled and doesn't think you have a right to be telling her anything to do. Um, and then when it comes to certain other people, she'll let them, kind of tell her what to do because these are extended people that mom has given permission. So, in a sense, they're an extension of mom's command of, well, you can think this, you can feel this, it'll be okay. So, my baby sister, of course, only those that are really good close friends, that my mom is okay, that, oh, listen to them, they're going to teach you well, they're going to make you a star, they're going to help you get famous. Yeah, it kind of seems to be their goal to get my sister famous. Which is another reason why I don't think she will be famous, because she lacks the self leadership skills, as I had said. Somebody who, is in fame, I think they need self leadership skills. They need the ability to do things on their own. They need the ability to say, I don't like this. Yes, I like this. I think we should go with this idea. This will make more money. I don't think we should go with this idea. This will kill our fan base. They need to have self leadership skill of their own thoughts. They equally also need to have leadership skills because not only are they making decisions for themselves, they're making decisions to help the benefit of those working for them. So there's a lot of leadership that has to go into being famous, I believe. Um, and my sister doesn't have that. If someone tries to truly help her by being a leader. Sometimes when we've been at church, yeah, she could get snippy. She didn't like it too much. If we didn't know that person and they were given leadership in a certain area at church, she would be very snippy. She didn't like it, because she's kind of a spoiled brat. She doesn't like being bossed around. But if it was a friend that my mom knew, and my mom would be like, "Oh, trust this person. They're gonna do good. They're gonna teach you," and that's kind of what it is with my sister with the group at the stockyards. Um, my mom wants her to learn everything she can from them. And there's, in particular, two that have taken my sister under their wing, and they really are good people. I love them. I don't think they really know what's going on at home, though. I don't think they know one bit. Then again, I don't know. I've learned there's a lot more people that know than what I knew, but I will talk about that in another video of how that happened. But um, I think you get it. I don't think my sister could actually function well in the world Neither do I think she will actually achieve her goal, and that is to get famous. That is to be a singer or an actress, probably both. I don't think she will get there simply because she lacks this key thing of having leadership over oneself. She lacks that. She doesn't have her own opinion. She doesn't have her own thoughts or feelings. She's part way a spoiled brat and will get very snippy with people. And also part way just doesn't have self opinion or thoughts or feelings or self leadership. So she really lacks very big skills and tools one would need to achieve in the world, as well as achieve something as big, grand, and great as becoming famous. I think if you're going to become famous, all the more you have to have that self leadership skill. And remember what I said, when I gathered my own self leadership, it does not mean you get to boss people around. It does not mean that if they have a different opinion than you have to force them to believe in you. If you have self leadership and you have your own thoughts and your own feelings, you may be a bossy, snippy person because that's your opinion to believe you're right and the other person's wrong, and you've chosen to do that. So, in a sense, it's still leadership over yourself because you've chosen this. But I think if you have leadership skills teamed up with self leadership skills, then then you'll have a better chance of being famous because I think you need to have those in order to, because you're not just having to think about yourself at that moment. You have to think about those that are working for you. You have to think about your fans. You have to think about so many people other than yourself. But all the same, I think self leadership is something very necessary, because if you don't have that, you don't have the proper skills to be a complete full leader, because you yourself are not complete. How can you guide people if you can't even, guide or direct yourself and somebody else is doing it for you? Um, and this is why I pity my sister, because, she's got big dreams, very big dreams. And those are not bad. I would love to see my sister keep dreaming. I want to see her succeed. It's just, I'm saddened because I don't think she will, because of the lack of these skills and these tools to, one, be a leader, because she's not a team player. I think you have to be a team player in order to be a real, genuine, good leader, at least. To be a good leader, you have to do that. You have to be a team player, which she is so not. And I think also, because if you're famous, you're going to be dealing with a lot of people. You're going to be dealing with people working for you, and you want to keep those employees happy so they keep working for you. Um, because it won't matter how much you're paying them. If you're an asshole, they're not going to stick around. And if you're that bad, that should really tell you're an asshole. Um, and then, I think you have to have self leadership skills, because you can't be a true leader and lead if you can't even lead yourself. And, she does not lead herself. She's always got someone else leading her, whether it be my mom or those extended. My mom is pretty much psychologically okayed to lead her. Um, but anybody else extended from there, she's not a team player, so she can't really lead, because people need people to work with them, not have them work for you. They need you to work with them. And she lacks that. She has more of this personality, like you need to work for her and let her just be bossy. I mean, it's worse than her wanting you to work for her. It's more she's bossy. No concept of, people's strengths and weaknesses, and how can you make this work? Um, she doesn't have that, skill. I mean, she's gotten angry with me before because we were having a yard sale and I wasn't putting the clothes on the hanger right. Uh, she did not, tell me this. She was just getting very snippy with me and snooty with her attitude, and I finally had to look at her. I'm like, "What is your problem?" And she just looked at me and goes, "Well, you're not putting the clothes on the hangers right. I want them this way, so they'll all be facing that way." And, I had to walk away from her. I was like, "Look, I can't read your mind. If you had a problem, you should have said that earlier instead of being snitty with me this whole time. Um, I'm going to walk away now and let you handle this. Because I'm not going to sit here and, deal with this attitude." Um, and I think that's also part of, developing self leadership skills. Uh, Knowing that you deserve better, knowing you don't have to put up with this. That was a very difficult thing for me to learn because I just kind of grew up being, you know, in a sense, just taught to take everyone's crap and, also taught I deserved it in some way. So it was very difficult and very hard for me to finally reach the concept I don't deserve this. I deserve better. And I deserve people to be nice to me because I'm nice to them, okay? Um, so yeah, that that's just an example of what I mean. She does not have leadership skills or team player skills. I mean, she's not even a team player with me, and I'm her sister. She's just, you know, didn't verbalize to me what she wanted and was just very snooty with me. And those are things you can't do in leadership if you want to be at least a real, true, good leader, that is, good at what you do at leading. Well, you've got to communicate. You got to tell people what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you want to see done. And she's not doing that. She just kind of expects you to know and gets agitated for you for not knowing. And then gets agitated with you for not knowing why she's agitated. It's like, seriously, these are not leadership skills. This is the personality of a spoiled brat and somebody who cannot think for themselves at the same time. Um, So yeah, I am not trying to be mean or bash my sister in any way. I just wanted to give another example as to why I feel bad for her and something I had forgotten to mention, and that was it. We both at one point didn't know how to think for ourselves. Except it was different. I mean, she got the spoiled brat personality, and I got the you don't deserve anything personality. So you know, yeah. um. So yeah, that's just another little bit about my sister, my baby sister. And again, I'm not trying to bash her because like I said in the other video, she has nice qualities about her. She has nice things about her that, you know, that show she has a good heart inside of her. She just lacks the leadership skills, self-leadership skills to think for herself and a lot of tools that, would help her achieve to do these things that are good things that she'd want to do. Um, and, there are things in time I hope she one day comes to know and overcomes and conquers. As of right now, it's very clear to me that's not going to happen, but, I do hope one day she will, because even if she's a spoiled brat, and I mean, just can be nasty to me, I still love her. I mean, she has her moments too where she's nice to me. Like today, she hasn't really done anything mean. She's just been lazy though, which is plain annoying. Which is why I say they kind of take advantage of me. I mean, doesn't clean anything, didn't do anything, and yet she'll get cranky with me if I ask for help. And, so I'm expected to just be quiet and take it and, clean everything and keep everybody happy. Yet she thinks she's allowed to get cranky if I don't put the clothes on the hangers right. So, you might understand why this is a little difficult sometimes dealing with. I love her. There's good qualities about her that can advance and grow, but she lacks so many tools to advance and grow as a person, as an adult, and, to do good things in this world. Um, Instead, she doesn't have leadership skills. She doesn't have self leadership skills. Someone's ruling over her thoughts. And all the same time, she's a spoiled brat that doesn't appreciate others or other people's leadership skills. Um, so, it's just a lot. I could probably go on a bit more, but I think I've pretty much made it clear. Um, she just does not have leadership skills, and she doesn't appreciate that others can do as good a job and if not better than her sometimes. And I think that's why she doesn't, I think that's why she gets snippy with people who do have leadership over her at times. Um, I think it's because, in her head, like the thing with the hangers, she thinks she can do it better. Uh, but she's not going to communicate that. Also, she thinks she can do it better, that even when they're doing a better job than she is. And yes, that has happened. I mean, there has been times where she has tried to take charge and just absolutely failed at it, including my mom. And it had to go back to letting that other person take charge, and they still just kept being snoot. My sister just kept being snooty. Um, not even learning that lesson that other people, have are valued as well. They're valuable. She doesn't see that as valuable, which is sad. So again, not trying to be mean because she does have good qualities, but there's a lot of not so good qualities that are, very much so, I would say, hindrance and have broken our relationship at all. I mean, from really even having much of a chance to form. Uh, she doesn't find other people's leadership valuable. She clearly doesn't find me valuable very much. She has way too much overvalue of herself that, that she can become this movie star, but yet she doesn't value others that, might be involved in helping get her there. Uh, and she lacks the skills that she would need to get there too. And you get it. She lacks those skills that would be necessary to get what she wants. And she's too overly spoiled to really appreciate what it would take to get what she wants. Um, and how much people it would take for to value those people that it would take for her to get there to that point that what she wants. Which I think is sad because I want to see my sister succeed, but it's going to take a lot of her having some humility and valuing people to get there. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to share. I hope I wasn't too confusing. um, maybe with a lack of words, I did my best to try to describe that and explain it. I hope I did good enough there, but I'm not sure. I hope I did. uh, but yeah, I do love her. And, I hope one day she finds those tools and skills that she needs because, even if she's a brat, she's my sister. And, you just love your sister and you want to see them succeed anyhow. You also want to see them happy, and they can't really truly be happy until they learn to have some humility and value others as well, you know? So that's true. I do want to see her happy. It just may be a long time before I get to see that, which sucks because, I do love my sister and want to see that happen. Um, okay, so I'm gonna try to stop babbling on now, and yeah, you have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever this is being watched. So yeah, bye now.